Oh my goodness. It's a snowstorm today. There's so much snow. Look at that. So much snow. All right, let's tap in. We have a lot of messages today, a lot to talk about. So let's dive in. Cleansing the energy. Cleansing, cleansing, cleansing. Woo-wee. All right, can't make this too long. I do have, guys, welcome to the channel. I hope you're doing amazing. I do have requests if possible. Not only please continue to like the videos, continue to comment in. Oh, this was me supporting my sister in a dance. Gotta take it off. Please, if you can, just like you did last year, I remember you guys show up for my familia, okay, my community, my job that I love so much. As you guys, most of you guys know, those who've been here before, you know that I am, 1 second, it's getting very cold. I open the door because, you know, when you say it, you gotta open some windows, you know, take out some, you know, jujus and stuff. Be right back. All right, I'm back with some Palo Santo for you. Okay, so what I was saying, please, there's going to be in the description below my community and my familia. As you guys know, most of you know, I'm a caregiver. One of my many jobs is caregiving, and I love it. And it's I work in this organization called CARE, okay, and they're doing a 21-day challenge where I assume most of you who've been here for many years, I posted about this a year or 2 years ago, and you guys show up. So I really appreciate it. If you're not able to donate, make sure that you like or share it in your social media, your Facebooks and stuff like that. Go join us, go follow us, okay? I do have them also, their website, if you want to check them out. It's on my to go and allocate if you like, okay? Their website is there. There's gonna be a link where you're able to donate. It's a 21-day challenge, so you can donate $21 or anything you can right now. It's just to help to continue the programs and also to support the community, okay? Another thing that I would love for you guys to do, even if you're not in, I don't know if it works if you're outside of Quebec, Montreal, but for those who live in Quebec, Montreal, right now there's some type of cannibalism that I don't really like in our community. And that's not good because they're obviously targeting people who cannot really defend themselves and advocate themselves or strike or protest and stuff like that. So there's going to be a petition if you're able to sign, okay, for especially those in Montreal. Just sign it, okay. If you're not able to protest, there's going to be a mini march protest on this Monday. By the time I'm filming, it's a Sunday. So on the 17th at 5:30, okay, for those who can show up. If you cannot show up, just share the petition, sign it, and somebody be able to show up if you're not able to, okay? But yes, they're trying to take away our basic needs for people with disability here. They have public transportation. It is not really free because they have to pay like a normal, like if we, when you buy public, like a bus or a bus fare or metro or subway for some of y'all, they're able to also afford it just like us, and be able to have their own transport. They can book it online and the transport can go bring them to places and bring them back. So now this government, which is very sneaky little shithead, are trying to remove those from them. And I don't think it's right, because these are basic necessities. This is something that people with disability can go to places, can hang out with friends and families and stuff like that. They're not feeling so isolated and stuff like that. And also they can go to places as where I work, which is an educational center. It's also provides for them meals. We feed them and we educate them. We spend time with them, so they don't spend most of the time at home and stuff like that. So stuff like that, So removing that basic need for them to get there or trying to privatize it, because most of the people with disabilities, they cannot afford very expensive fares, just like a lot of us who cannot, so If you can, sign the petition. If you can, show up. Awesome. Okay. Other than that, yeah, I'm going to show you guys a couple videos here that Father God wants me to show you. I can't talk too much about it. I wanted to tap into the energy, but I don't know if I have enough space. But if I do, let's go for it. But first, I do want to make it clear here in this community that I advocate for a lot of organizations and a lot of movements. Okay, so that's why don't try to put me or my community in a box. We're here for wisdom. We're here to learn outside of the status quo. This is why my content is heavily censored and suppressed. So I really appreciate if you guys make sure that you like, you comment, you share, and you're subscribed. Okay, I do have other platforms as well that I'm also confirmation that I'm also exposing some truth a little bit more deeper, and I have beautiful communities where you guys, for some of you have seen for 15, 17 months, all of us content creators who've been sharing the truth as truth tellers, as we are the God's messenger. Most of us are. A lot of us have different spiritual rankings where we have multiple gifts and talents where we're meant to be shared. I'm one of those people. And yes, one of those things that I want to make sure is that you always need to remember this video that I'm going to show you next, because at the end of the day, we need to allocate our rage or frustration or injustices that is happening not just to some, but a lot of people, to the right energy and where it needs to be directed to, not to the people who are being belittled, who are being oppressed, and who are being used as human shields, right? Especially we have an expert on that, they're putting his own child everywhere and as covering himself as a child. And that's another confirmation that I'm going to give you guys after the videos, because he kept saying that I need to put it out there. So here are the videos, and make sure that you please go like the content creators, go research them, go find them in your IG or Facebook, and go share their content as well. Okay, that's the whole point that I'm here for. Especially if you're being called and Father God said that's the video that you should share on your social medias, that's the one. Be obedient, okay? Just like I was. This is literally him telling me to share for you guys. So now you pay it forward by not only supporting the content creators, because when you follow and you like and you save and all that, you help them in a little algorithm and you help them their information to be boosted up. You do need to remember they were fighting an online very disgusting economic and violence war online, where there's people with intense amount of money are paying insanely amount of money to create more propaganda to stay in these platforms, while people who are truth teller exposing the truth are being completely suppressed and censored. So we do need you guys to help us out, okay? And they know it. This is why we're counting on you. And also, if you want to keep us here maintaining and keep you informed and educated, for a lot of us, this is the people who I'm speaking to, those who are on the right side of history. This is something that I know you already do. I really appreciate it, okay? Make sure you continue to share, make sure you continue to engage, and keep us around here, okay? And we continue free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan, and free all the oppressed people, okay? But this video is my specific situation, what I've been talking about for the past 8 years that I've been in this platform and talking as an environmental scientist. This is something that we have been telling you guys. This is why the system needs to change, okay?
Shocking new report from Oxfam exposes just how bad the world's billionaire problem is. The 97-page report, aptly titled Takers Not Makers, explains how billionaires are actually becoming more powerful, not less. The report found that in the last year, the world's 2,769 billionaires increased their wealth by $2 trillion, 3 times faster than the year before. That means the average billionaire is making $2 million a day, while the richest 10 billionaires are making $100 million a day. To put that in perspective, if you earned $1,000 a day, every single day for 315,000 years, which would take you back to the dawn of Homo sapiens as a species, you still wouldn't be as wealthy as people like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Even if every single billionaire lost 99% of their wealth, every single one of them, with the exception of a few, would still be wealthier than 99% of people in America. Collectively, the billionaire class, which is, again, less than 3,000 people, has a net worth of $15 trillion, meaning together they're worth more than every single country on Earth except the United States and China. The report also notes that even though billionaire wealth is skyrocketing, the number of people in the world living in poverty hasn't changed since 1990. Right now, 44% of humanity lives below the poverty line, meaning they make less than $6.85 a day. If you take out China's poverty reduction, which has been one of the main drivers of poverty reduction in the last few decades, lifting over 800 million people out of poverty since 1979, the global poverty rate has actually increased. Meanwhile, if current trends continue, Oxfam predicts that we'll have 5 trillionaires within a decade. The report also calculates that 36% of all billionaire wealth is inherited. In fact, every single billionaire under the age of 30 inherited their wealth. 18% of billionaire wealth, according to this report, comes from monopoly power. This refers to companies like Amazon that control so much market share they can set industry prices, unilaterally lower wages, and stifle innovation without any competition from other companies. Another 6% of billionaire wealth comes from cronyism, meaning corrupt state officials that use their positions to enrich themselves. In total, Oxfam estimates that 60% of billionaire wealth comes from these illegitimate sources and led the authors to conclude that billionaire wealth is, quote, largely unmerited. This might actually be the most important part of the report, because how many people do we know that talk about wanting to be millionaires or billionaires? On the internet, you can find all kinds of videos that talk about how you can get rich quick or how you can get a billionaire mindset, and they almost always say the only difference between you and the billionaires is that the billionaires work harder than you. But according to this report, most billionaires don't work for their money at all. They steal it or they just get it from their parents. In fact, you actually have a far greater chance of getting struck by lightning or dying in a plane crash than you do of becoming a billionaire. Literally by thousands of times. The only reason billionaires tell you that you can become a billionaire is so you stay in your place instead of questioning the role of billionaires in society. If people realize that one of the most common ways people get this rich is by cheating or inheriting from your parents, you'd realize these people aren't the geniuses they make themselves out to be. They're not innovators and they're not heroes. If they cared about you or I at all, they would have shown it by now. They would have improved wages and living standards. They would have paid their fair share in taxes like the rest of us instead of hoarding it all for themselves. But that's the point. No amount of honest hard work makes you that rich. The only way to get that rich is to drain the wealth of the rest of society. And what do you call it in biology when you have an organism that drains the lifeblood of a larger host? The newly inaugurated Trump administration is basically a prototype of what a global dictatorship of billionaires could look like. Among the top priorities of this administration, which counts 13 billionaires and $483 billion in net worth among its ranks, is actually to cut taxes on the billionaire class even further and destroy whatever's left of the public safety net. But what's truly incredible about this is this billionaire-run administration is trying to convince us that the reason we're struggling isn't because of billionaires and corporations hoarding wealth. It's because of immigrants. Just think about what's being said here. A group of billionaires wants you to think that they're not your enemy. It's the roofer coming from Guatemala that's your enemy. A group of billionaires wants you to think that they're not your enemy. It's the Haitian family fleeing a US-backed dictatorship with nothing but the clothes on their backs that's your enemy. And you know what? When you really think about it, that's exactly what you'd expect a bunch of billionaires to tell you.
If there's anything the world should learn from the atrocity in Congo, it's that we should stop exoticizing extreme wealth. There is no reason whatsoever for billionairism to be a thing in this world. The truth is, extreme wealth is attained by using as little as possible to gain as much as possible. And in many cases, this presents itself in exploiting capital labor. So when we exoticize extreme wealth, we exoticize extortive practices that lead to extreme wealth, endangering people's lives. I'm not saying be broke, because no one wants that. Be able to afford 2 to 3 vacations a year, have a nice house, afford basic needs, a few luxuries here and there. But billionairism should not be a thing. That wealth attained from the Congo should not be a thing. It is gruesomely unnecessary and a very big contributing factor to the levels of extortion, child labor, and inequality in this world.
They're trying to know more about the status of Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya, who's been in enforced disappearance for the past 47 days. It was not until a group of lawyers from Al Mizan Human Rights Organization, a Palestinian organization with offices across the territories, managed to meet with him inside his detention center in Israel, the Over prison, where they met with him and they check on his health status and his conditions. And the testimonies that we heard are quite shocking. Dr. Hussam Abu Safiya went through a lot of dehumanization and physical torture. He was oftentimes shocked by electrical sticks. He was deprived of sleep. Mainly sleep deprivation caused much of the exhaustion that he went through. But above all is the ongoing dehumanization and the illegality of being detained by the Israeli military. He's not being charged with anything other than that he was a doctor inside the hospital. He's often accused of many of the things that the Israeli military offers no substantial evidence to it whatsoever up till now. But what we know for a fact now, for 47 days, Dr. Hussam Safiya went from one detention center to another. Among those centers that he went through is the notorious detention center, City Man, where he was tortured the most, physically abused by the guards of the detention center. Then he was transferred to a military base until his recent detention center now. But he went through a lot of the things that are making his conditions at risk right now.
يستعيد حجيه الإخلاص يستعيد كون في الموت كون في المخيم تعال عود اطلعوا برا المخيم حجيه الإخلاص المخيم يتجوز في الحدود انت تدخل بعزه وانت وخرخان من فوق الإخلاص الله يسعدكم
Okay, first of all, I need to make something very clear. The reason, as you saw, that they use the rhetoric and I find it's like a witchcraft spell, the anti-Semitism, because at the end of the day, their actions is anti-Semitic, as we clearly saw, right? But their energy of us, protesting and Father God keeps saying the truth will be louder than the lies. Okay, so this is why they pay trillions of dollars to suppress, to silence, to remove content, completely exposing the truth. This is the medicine to eradicate fascism, racism, white supremacy, because this energy relies on lies, relies on destruction, on violence, because they are weak. This is it's a parasite, right? So it cannot thrive when the presence of the truth. It cannot thrive in the presence of clarity for a lot of y'all. It cannot thrive in the presence of justice. So this is why when we speak up, when we protest, when we boycott, and those who cannot protest, there's multiple ways that you can do a lot of things right now. You can be revolutionary with doing things, your actions. That's what we keep telling you guys, that conscious actions does matter, does create an effect, okay? And they know this. The oppressor, the system who benefits from the lies, the corruption, and living off, hoarding wealth, they know this, okay? Also, they know that we are aware already that these weapons and these things that's happening, the genocide, at the end of the day, it will always come back to the source. Like the pudding, the proof is in the pudding, okay? There is regular people who cannot afford this type of weaponry. And this is why it's just like, it's kind of like psychological warfare as well, when a lot of people are, uneducated, but also gaslighting others who are exposing the truth, and also letting you know that there is a big difference between a colonizer and a colonized, okay? So a lot of us, we need to express this, but in a way that is understandable. But Father God keeps saying that the truth will always be much louder than the lies. Because truth is a form of revolution. It's a form of love. God is love. God is truth. He is our first revolutionary fighter. FYI. And that too, once they start telling you guys that is God anti-Semitic and stuff like that, this is how you know that they lost the narrative. So pay attention to that, because they already lost it. It's been a couple months now so far. The narrative is already like dying. And now they're trying to scrap and they're trying to hide because they're criminals, right? They're the real terrorists, right? So a lot of you pay attention. And also at this point, I think it will be redundant to try to I will just ignore people, because at this point they can educate themselves. They have the ways, the means, they're able to, right? I don't think they're disabled. If not, they're probably disabled in other parts of the mind, pretending to be, smarter than everybody else and stuff like that. And also another thing, I want to make that clear. The reason why we expose the truth and wisdom and share the facts and stuff like that, because a lot of people think that when we do that is kind of like to show that we are better. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to show people like, oh, I'm smarter and I'm better and blah, blah, blah. No, if anything, I'm humble enough. And this is stuff that I wish it wasn't truth, some of it, because some of the stuff is so heinous and inhumane that I'm just like, humans can be that evil and diabolical and psychotic? Yes, billionaires and oligarchs have shown us that. So this is why we also tell you the system needs to change, because it's a parasitic energy that is hurting not only our planet, but it's hurting ourselves, it's hurting our humanity, it's hurting the health. And also, I don't think we'll be able to survive any time longer when we have a system like this, that right now everything is rising, which is very difficult for a lot of people, especially a lot of us single parents. Like, I don't know about y'all, but it's not good. And it's not normal also to be in a certain energy where you have to work multiple jobs and not be able to, afford necessities at this point. It doesn't, and then when you look at structures from Spain or Europe and other countries where they are established a way where, it's different than here and then the West, I think you start noticing why the West targets these countries and tries to silence them, trying to, also steal from them as well. So a lot of us, we really need like a global shift, learn from other countries who are for the people and not against the people. So yeah, continue with the videos.
Would you agree with me, Charlotte, that Israel's behavior meets the criminal code's definition of terrorism?
Certainly it does. The behavior of the Zionist regime, the behavior of its imperialist backers, the Israeli genocidal assault on Gaza, all of these fall within the category of terrorism, and not just within the category of terrorism, but within the category of genocide. But the category of terrorism, as it is used in Canadian laws, it's used in US laws, it's used in European law, is almost never used in order to hold accountable those perpetrators who have power. Instead, this designation is used to suppress, support, and to besiege the movements that are struggling to defend the people of those who have been the victims of imperialism. And certainly in the case of Palestine by Zionism, Canada has no business designating any organization as a so-called terrorist organization as long as it continues to trade, support, defend Zionist terror against the Palestinian people. All of these things are fundamentally a mechanism by which Canada is is aiding and abetting genocide, because these are all efforts in order to suppress an anti-genocide movement. There has been a real revolt and popular movement saying that we no longer want to be complicit in genocide. So the level of repression and the escalation of repression that we are seeing is an attempt to continue to aid and abet and participate in genocide without even suffering domestic repercussions as small as electoral repercussions.
This population in Palestine is hostile, it's uneducated. It's even more radicalized than they were at the beginning of this. I mean, now they have no homes at all. They're even more hateful of the Israelis. And their birth rate is explosive. The average Palestinian woman has 5.5 babies. The average Israeli woman has only 2.5 babies. So demographically, they're a threat. Mm-hmm. Not to mention the national security threat. There is no way you can have these two peoples living side by side. Population in Palestine is hostile, it's uneducated.
You can say virtually anything that you want about Palestinians and we don't care anymore, but you will not say that. Palestine has one of the highest literacy rates in the world, with an average of 97.8%. Our literacy rate in men is almost 99%. In women, it's 96%, making it also one of the most narrow gender gaps in education worldwide. Today, at the university level in Palestine, female enrollment rates in university are higher than males. And in 2020, it was recorded that 99.6% of Palestinian women in Palestine completed primary and upper secondary education. And despite our status as a displaced people, we are considered the world's most educated refugees. So, we are fucking smarter than you. It's okay to be salty about it.
Okay, so that part from the beautiful Palestinian Mo and Janine. I love my Palestinian content creators. Go follow them. Go on IG, go like their videos, go share them, okay? But one thing that Father God, I've mentioned this before, it was in one of the readings that came up that my cat was all over the place, that I sent you guys. I told you, like, there's someone that is trying to be smarter than they are, but it's like literally, they're just exposing themselves that they're a dumbass, okay? And it must be like really like, and that's another thing. Father God kept saying that this person is getting paid to say that on national television, is to dehumanize and discredit that the fact that Palestinians are very, very smart, like really intensely smart. I mean, no wonder they're trying to wipe them out. Like, they're trying to wipe out all their journalists, their poets, the scientists, the medical, the doctors and stuff like that. They literally did that for the past 2 years, bombing them, literally wiping out their families. And also it's a proof to me and to all of y'all that Palestinians are the real chosen ones. They are. This is why the enemy, which is fucking satanic and diabolical, it's not gonna happen, you know? Because look, conflict and defeat. These people, then it's just not. A lot of us is our love or standing up for our Palestinian brothers and sisters, is exposing, not allowing this to happen, not allowing history to repeat itself. Yeah, transformation. Now allowing the death of the murderers to be in vain. Okay, that is our job. Whether you are a tarot reader, content creator, whatever, business owner, student, I don't care. Like, a lot of us, this is our job. A lot of us, we call ourselves Christian, Catholic, and stuff like that, but you're not protesting and defending or talking at least about what's going on in Palestine. Please don't come with that shit that you say that you love Jesus Christ, because you don't. Especially those who support the Trump administration and all that shit. Like, these people are antichrist. They're against Jesus Christ. So, yeah, I will unlearn and relearn due to the colonization for a lot of us, which is okay. A lot of you need to do some repenting, okay? Because Father God is convicting a lot of y'all through other people. Stop supporting fucking fascists. Because Jesus Christ, if you're all Christians and Catholic and whatever, and you love the Son, okay, and Holy Spirit, he's been telling you, it's not cute to be capitalist. And it's not Christ-like to be a capitalist, just saying. So go on the right side of history, which is being anti-capitalist, anti-Zionist, and anti-fascist. Yeah. And stop doing stuff and losing your integrity and literally your faith in your religion and your love for God for money. Because it's disgusting. For real. Yeah. Because that's it. A lot of you're going to be hunted. Not only by the ancestors of those people that you think, but yourself, your conscious. A lot of you cannot run away from your conflict. Come from your conscious. Okay? Yeah. A lot of people, you're going to see a lot of stars and a lot of people just moving forward. You're just going to stay behind. That's just what it is. Yeah, because throat chakra, you need to be speaking up. Let's go. Learn from the Palestinian, okay? Also, the Congo and Sudan as well. These people, they know that they're going to be targeted. They know that it's intense who they are going against, and it's not fair. They're not alone. They should not feel alone against fucking disgusting empires. They should not.
The people voted for major government reform.
Yeah, but they didn't vote for you, though, did they? Anyway, what's the problem you've come to solve?
Unelected bureaucracy.
Aren't you, like, literally functioning as an unelected bureaucrat right now? But, we're still in benefit of the doubt mode. What is your plan to deal with this bloated bureaucracy?
Making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code.
So the solution to the bureaucracy is more bureaucracy. It's almost as if that might be exactly the type of thinking that created this problem in the first place. Anyway, well done convincing people that fiscal waste is a left versus right thing by only focusing on social programs and ignoring the trillions of dollars that go to subsidizing bloated, dysfunctional mega corporations. What a confusing puzzle. The prices went up, the deficit went up, the people can't eat, but the richest people are exponentially richer. I wonder where all that wealth disappeared off to. It must be because the government is funding too many transgender book clubs and lesbian mountain hiking initiatives. Incidentally, like a month ago, the United States was on the brink of class consciousness, and now you've been shock and awed into entrenching yourself more deeply into the left versus right narrative than ever before. You think that was a coincidence? That's the game, always has been. Divide the people, consolidate the wealth, which means the people have to keep their wits about them, which means in this day and age, media literacy is more important than ever before. Now, the sponsor of this video, Ground News, are a great tool for exactly that. They help you navigate the modern narrative by showing you which organizations are reporting on which stories and where their political affiliations lay. You can see if the reporting has a heavy left-wing bias or a heavy right-wing bias, or if it's relatively neutral. They show you how many sources a story has when it's being heavily reported or when it's being extremely underreported, which might indicate that it's a story the political establishment in general would prefer people not to talk about or think about. They can show you who owns the various publications, if they're a small independent outfit or if they're owned by some giant multinational media conglomerate. And in a landscape as politically charged as the one we're in, knowing who's giving you information is about as important as knowing the information itself. They also let you compare and contrast headlines next to each other to get a clear idea not only of who is giving you the information, but exactly how they're saying it and how that varies depending on their political bias. Right now, you can go to groundnews.com/magistus and get 40% off their unlimited access Vantage plan. I use this app myself. I find it quite useful. So like I said, if you're interested in that, follow the link in my bio or just go to groundnews.com/magistus.
So let me ask you, do you have any cultural or family links to either Palestine or Sudan, or was this purely a gesture of humanity and support for those affected by these wars?
Humanitarian. Yeah, humanitarian. I'm a humanitarian and I'm a Muslim. So we're spiritually collected in Islam, and we're human. We're connected with empathy for humanity because we're all human beings, God's creation, and they're oppressed. And we know God answers the prayers of the oppressed. They are suffering. They're treated with injustice, and it's on a wide scale, and nobody Nobody is really giving it the light that it should get at least working toward a change. And I wanted to show the solidarity to those afflicted by this and their families and loved ones, that they're being remembered here in America. And they're being remembered here in America, not just by me, but by others. And it'll strengthen all of our faith. It was not about a countryman. It was more about spiritual.
Okay, let me jump in and ask you, I mean, do you think the protest or your protest is likely to damage your career? Are you worried you may find it difficult to get work again, given what happened?
I trust in God, brother. I wanted to pass that. I fear God more than I fear man. I fear loss of wealth. I fear loss of anything else. I fear losing the pleasure of Allah. And it was clear to me with the signs of the show that Kendrick had the American flag and human bodies. He had his PG Lane flags. And it was also many signs for me to show those flags to show how we're all connected.
Yes, in response to your protest, the NFL says you'll now be banned for life from all NFL stadiums, from all events. What's your response to the ban? And would you still have done it if you'd known the risks?
The risk of a ban? I was afraid I was going to get sniped by a Secret Service's bullet. I can watch a football program on the television if I choose to, sir. And I don't like large crowds anyway.
We over here eating steaks, hummus, sleeping on big lofty pillows and beds, and you see images on your phone. Widows, people walking miles on gravel, no shoes. How could I not? How could I not? And then wake up and pray and say I'm a Muslim.
By now, you've probably seen the footage. It's Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show, and just as the last song builds to a climax, a performer holds up the flags of Palestine and Sudan. We caught up with the performer Zulkarnain Nantanbu, who staged that protest.
You know, people losing their loved ones, their children, so many janazas. I pray that their suffering is over, but while we going through it, we got to show that we with them.
How did the idea come about to unfurl the Sudanese and Palestinian flags while performing?
When we got into the Super Bowl, Superdome to practice, then I just started getting inspired on, man, hey, you're about to be a part of a big platform. Use this platform to highlight what your Muslim brothers and sisters around the world are going through. So when they called us out, I ran, jumped on the GNX, and then that gave me the height to unfurl the flag, and it could be seen, distinguished amongst all the other stuff that's going on. So it was like a platform to display it. They just saw somebody running around on the field, so they got a radio, oh, go get this guy. We ran across the field, and you know, they just gave more camera time, more people to pick it up there. And it was shown live. People that watched it live saw it. You know, they saw it in the corners. Like if you go to the NFL's YouTube channel, you can watch the performance. The flag is still up. Then if you recognize it, you represent it. And that is really for them, not other people.
As you know, President Trump was in the audience. He's been talking about wanting the U.S. to take over Gaza. What is your message to President Trump?
I pray that God changes his heart. For his sake and for America's sake, we got to do what's right because we don't want bad stuff to come upon us. My ancestors built this nation. I'm an American, true and true. The reason why I didn't need an American flag up there is because Kendrick handled that for me when they put the people in formation. I just added the flags that needed representation.
You upset all these powerful corporations, right? But you won the hearts and minds of so many people, and your following on Instagram has skyrocketed. So what do you think is the lesson in all of this?
The lesson is be on the right side of right. Do what's right. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, life is short. And we believe that what we do in this life determines where we'll go for eternity. And when you do it for the people, you always going to be supported.
Hamas attacked us, we'll take care of them. We'll finish them all.
According to history, Israel first attacked Palestine in 1948. Hamas was not obtained until decades after, in 1987. Mind you, there was many other massacres after the Nakba.
You sure that Iran doesn't have nuclear weapons?
Wait, but Israel has nuclear weapons. Israel also has Samson option, which is a massive retaliation of nuclear weapons as a last resort. Samson option is based off a biblical narrative. It's in a biblical narrative as a nuclear threat. That's really interesting.
When we destroy Hamas,
Netanyahu, as of November 2023, you dropped 25,000 tons on Palestine. That's equivalent to 2 Hiroshima bombs. At this point, it's equivalent to at least 6 Hiroshima bombs. Zelensky, you killed 18,000 children.
Hamas was fighting from densely populated areas and forced us to take action.
Every lie sold is a confession told. Israel has military bases in densely populated areas, including Tel Aviv and its surroundings. Anyways, please don't forget to read Havara Agreement, an agreement between these two.
Over $250 million pro-Israel dollars were spent on U.S. politics in 2024 alone. That money dictated the makeup of our current Congress, installing Zionists on both sides of the aisle and expelling as many critics of Israel as possible. And it's almost been completely successful. You can barely find a handful of representatives now in our government who are even willing to be critical of Israel. That money was spent to ensure that Israel never runs out of the American money and weapons they use to commit crimes and maintain the stability of their illegal state. That money was spent to enable the ethnic cleansing of Gaza, the later annexation plan for the Gaza Strip by Israel, the annexation of the West Bank, which Israeli leaders have planned for 2025 this year, the potential annexation of more parts of Syria, and also possibly war with Iran, which Israel has been trying to drag us into for decades.
Okay, another tactic that Instagram and other accounts are doing right now is getting your accounts to unfollow certain people that they don't want other people or you to share their content. So these two, I'm going to show you. They're on my YouTube channel. I've shared their content as well. So if you want to look at the posts in the community, one of them is there. But also I've noticed that this is a shitty way Instagram has done this. Again, I'm not surprised. They have done this also in the climate change communities, sustainable communities that I've joined in the past, so this is not new to me. But this was like really sneaky because it's like all my accounts that I have on Instagram have all unfollowed them, even though I've been constantly sharing her content. This is independent journalists, and these are people who are constantly exposing the truth. So out of for yourself, I would suggest, because they do expose a lot of things, but also knowledge is power and education is elevation. So who is trying to keep you guys down and keep you uneducated and with that lack mentality, who's doing that? Anyways, go follow them, okay, and go share their content, especially when the fucking motherfuckers don't want you to, but that means that you should. Okay,
if we normalize this depravity and this barbarism, then we are going to end up and the road to hell. We have to do everything we can till the day we die to hold these people to account in politics, but also the media for what they've done. At the very least, destroy their careers and turn them into public pariahs. In the same way, as you know, journalists in Germany and in Rwanda had to face legal accountability for what they did. I think we'll see what happens in the coming years. There's no excuse for not knowing what Israel has done. No crime has been so documented, not least by its own victims, in real time as it actually happened. And if you are someone who used your platform to incite violence in what is a genocide, the receipts have been kept, everything you've said and done has been archived, the reckoning will come, and I would not be as confident as you may feel that the impunity you currently feel you have is going to last forever. I don't think it will.
Love has never been a popular movement. And no one's ever wanted really to be free. The world is held together, really it is held together, by the love and the passion of very few people. Otherwise, of course, you can despair. Walk down the street of any city, any afternoon, and look around you. What you got to remember is what you're looking at is also you. Everyone you're looking at is also you. You could be that person. You could be that monster. You could be that cop. And you have to decide in yourself not to be.
So, I'm going to see you in part 2, okay? but make sure you share, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and we're gonna talk about other videos and as you read about this. Okay.